Welcome everyone to another CTC software webinar. My name is Chris Bircher, Director of Technical Services here at CTC, and today we are hitting part 5 of our Clean Your Project series, and this will also be the final part to this series. So I'm excited to finish this up. But before we get going, I want to encourage everyone to ask questions using the questions panel. I will do my best to answer them as we go, and we'll certainly make time at the end to answer any and all remaining questions at that time. And this will be recorded and available on our YouTube channel shortly after the presentation is over. Probably tomorrow, if I had to guess. Maybe later today if we're lucky. So let's continue and finish this off. So if you've been following along throughout the previous 4 webinars in this series, this is kind of a recap at this point. But as many of you know at this point, tracking down issues in Revit files can be cumbersome and tedious, very time consuming, and hard to repeat. And certainly in Revit, there's nothing very good at helping you track this stuff down. One of the things that we used to do was I used to do health checks on models all the time. Those used to take 4 to 8 hours per Revit file. And if a project had 10 Revit files associated with it, that's a week of time spent digging in and reviewing these models, right? That's a whole lot of time that we don't have as BIM managers, right? So the whole point of this series has been able to show you guys what tools are out there that we have to assist with this endeavor. So today we're going to kind of finalize this with some ways at preventing these bad things or this model poor practices from happening even in our project. So there's a couple of different things that I wanted to talk about today. Oh, I'm showing the wrong screen. Look at that. So you get to see all my notes. There we go. That's better. Thank you for pointing that out. So today we're going to show you everything else and a couple of the tools to help with preventative maintenance. So as we just are doing a couple of recap pieces here, project standards can be difficult to administer and really to set up, right, outside of a template. And then once projects are started, getting changes made or new standards implemented takes time and can be a pain in the butt. And when it comes to tracking and maintaining this stuff, and forget about it. There's nothing really out there in Revit natively, I should say. Revit doesn't have anything to help with this. So in the first 4 webinars, we covered model compare, project snapshot exporter, project activity logger, import and link manager, dimension checker, schedule parameter resolver, type swapper, project cleaner, spreadsheet link, revision manager, and revision cloud remover, project processor, view creator, and I think I'm missing another one that's not even on here. We've covered a lot in the last 4 sessions. So today, we're going to focus primarily on a new tool of ours called Model Dashboard. And I'm going to briefly show you a little bit about a tool we have coming around the corner called Project Standards. So before I jump into the demo, we're just going to show you how to do some of this cleanup, how to review some data in the models, how to get this in front of your users' faces so that they can see what some of the common problems in a file may be and ways to help keep their files clean. And then we'll show some preventative measures. On the recap side, again, all these tools had certain things that they were capable of doing for us. We did a bunch of data capture in week 1 and some review with Power BI and in SQL Server. Then week 2, we talked Project Cleaner and removing views and sheets and view templates and view filters, and Dimension Checker for cleaning up the ill-advised dimension overrides. I believe week 3, session 3 was Import and Link Manager for managing links and imports in server files and in cloud shared files in BIM 360 or ACC. Type Swapper for doing replacements of line styles, text styles, dim styles, patterns, materials, duplicate content. And then Schedule Parameter Resolver helped us fix our broken schedules where we had duplicate parameters and the wrong ones got used. Then we used our revision management and cloud remover tools to assist with some management and issue tracking and tracking down some rogue revision clouds that were placed on sheets that didn't need to be placed or placed within a view when it should have been on the sheet, sort of thing. Obviously, legends are a little different in that scenario, but I typically like my revisions on a sheet. And then we use Spreadsheet Link to assist with deploying naming standards for views and for sheets, whether it's midway through the project and they weren't being followed, or at the very beginning of a project and we needed to batch create a bunch of new stuff. And then I showed you Project Processor and how it can take care of a lot of that cleanup and renaming and purging and swapping at the same time on multiple projects. So we sometimes you don't need to do a batch process of a whole bunch of things at once. So we have individual tools for taking care of some of that on demand. Then we have Project Processor to do it all at once if you need to, if it's just that bad. So today we're going to cover, so that's where we've gotten, that's where what we've done up until this point. It's been a lot. And I didn't want to spend 30 minutes recapping. So all those videos are on our YouTube channel, part 1 through part 4. And today we're covering 2 other tools. So on the CTC productivity tab, we have our BIM project suite. And within BIM project suite, we have our new tool called Model Dashboard. Now, the whole point of this tool is to get some of those usage or some of those model metrics in the face of your end users, right? So back in week 1, when we did some of this data capture with Project Activity Logger and our snapshot exporter, we had these nice Power BI files, right? Where we could see some of these basic metrics. And they, had things like unplaced rooms or unplaced families or unused views or views not on sheets and various other items like this. And we had different graphs and pie charts that we were referencing and allowing us to see a bunch of information about the file that we wanted to, like health check type stuff, right? So if I'm just bring this over here real quick. So here's an example of the Power BI file for project activity logging. And we got warning reviews. We have model summary and telling us how many views are in the file, what versions of Revit are being used, what users are working on it, versions used, add-ins included, synced essential performance, view info, just a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because that was video 1. So I just wanted to kind of refresh everyone. And so with that said, that's great for us on the management side of things. But oftentimes I find myself exporting this information out to say like a PDF or a JPEG and then giving it to the team so that they can see what I found about their file, and now you need to address it. Because I can't address them all. So I want the end users to do that. So instead of always having to create these reports and distribute them to my users and then have them reference a PDF or a JPEG and then having them kind of hunt everything down, that way, and maybe doing that on a weekly basis, how about we give them access to this information on a daily basis? Every time they open the Revit file, it's the first thing they see, okay? So that's what Model Dashboard is intended to do for you. So once you click the Model Dashboard tool, oh, fun. Okay, well, I just had a little pop-up here on the side, so I'm going to change this real quick. And what it'll do is it will throw a little message up that says, hey, we're going to insert a title block into your model that you can then place on your sheet that will insert a title block family, effectively is what it is, and has kind of our metrics on it. So I'm just going to open that file up and save you the hassle of having to watch me do this. So here we have our title block. And it looks a little like this. And it's because it is a title block, it has to live on a sheet. So many of you already do a splash page that is a sheet view. Just go ahead and update that and include this right on it so that every time someone syncs to Central, oftentimes we tell them to go to that view to save. Certainly that's what they see when they first open the file at the beginning of the day. They'll see this now. And the way it works is you'll insert it. It will come in looking like this, except it'll all be blank for the most part. And a sync to Central populates the information, and instantly it's going to start scanning through the file and finding things like unplaced families and how many CAD imports, how many materials, how many work sets, how many line styles, and so on and so forth. But this isn't everything. This can be modified to look a little different, or maybe you have different thresholds that you want to abide by versus what we've put in here, right? Everyone has a little bit different way of calculating some of those metrics, right? Like for work sets. If you do a lot of small projects or smallish projects, maybe 10 work sets is your max, right? And maybe on the low end, it's the basic 2. But really, there should have like 3 or 4, maybe 5. So you can edit some of these metrics rather easily, so that it's more applicable to your workflow and to how your company does things. And it's just a family. So once it's in your project, you can edit this family all day and night and do whatever you want with it. So if CAD imports shouldn't be used at all, change the numbers so that low is 0, high is 3 maybe, or high is 2. And if it doesn't find any CAD files, then we're in good shape. If it does, then we've got problems. Okay, but for the most part, it's just a matter of taking, if you want additional of these little dials, you just copy them over off to the side, maybe stretch a few things around, or just take what's here and replace it with something else. So if I open up family types here, you can see this is the list of all the parameters that we're tracking. And then we have our thresholds down below here. So in our list currently, we're looking for unplaced families, CAD imports, materials, work sets, line styles, file size, open time, in-place families, CAD links, let's see, unplaced rooms, text, warnings, sync times, total families. Let's see what we can use. I think we can do unplaced views is what I'm going to do. So we have an unplaced views count here, and that's basically views not on sheets, right? And then below that, we will have our thresholds. So unplaced view count, low, medium, max, or low, medium, high kind of thing, right? So 200, 350, 500. And maybe I don't want, maybe 500 is too much for me. So I'm going to set this to 300, set this to 200, and then maybe 100 in this case. Hit OK. And now I'm going to change my dials. So what I'm going to do here is just change what we're looking at. So for the value here, when you click the equals button for the associate, it tells you what it's looking for. Just change it to be what you need it to be. In this case, I'm doing CTC unplaced view count, and that's what's actually in the file. Then I need to change my threshold numbers here. So I want threshold good to be view count, I'm sorry, unplaced view count good. Then we have medium, which is the next one, unplaced view count, medium, and then I've got max. So unplaced view, where is it here? Count max. All right, and you can see based off what I've already input into the family types here, it's already pulling it in. Change the label so that it shows up here appropriately. Unplaced views, edit the family, and then go. We have this little tracker down here again. It's the same thing, just without the visual. So if I call it unplaced views, and it's just another way of referencing the data. Do you want to read it here, or do you want to see it down here, or do you want both? And this at least gives you a better idea on what these visuals actually are. But again, it's all mapped through the family types here, or through the properties and associating of the parameter values. You know, basic family editing at this point, right? This isn't rocket science. All of the programmatic work is happening as part of the project suite. So, you know, that all happens automatically in the background as you save. So you don't have to worry about it. And now I can do a save as, put it here. Maybe you want to list out everything. And by all means, go ahead and do so. Just stretch it out, move things down, copy the bottom row, and do exactly what I did here. And just reassociate parameters and change what the label text is going to be. I think there's another 6 or 7 fields that are included within the properties here that aren't shown currently in the family. So there's a lot more data at your disposal that I just haven't shown you yet. And while I'm loading this back into my project, this is not 2024 specific. Yes, I have 24 open, but that doesn't mean you need to be in 24 for this to work. All of our tools, all of CTC tools work in the current version of Revit plus 4 additional versions back. That holds true with this as well. We actually developed this in 2020 and then upgraded it so that we could get it all the way through to 2024. So when you install the BIM suites for your BIM project suite, this will work in Revit 2020. And that's as far back as we go at this point. So total of 5 supported Revit versions where you will have access to this family. So if you guys already have a license of BIM project suite, just update it to 24.1 and you will have this. 24.1 is the version where this came out. But now you can see it's already picked it up. It's showing me the goods, and if I sync to central, it will, you know, nothing will change effectively at this point because it's already reading what's in the file. But if I change something, obviously you'll have to save to get your metrics to update accordingly. It's only pulling data from the model at a sync to central. So, if you have Project Suite, I strongly recommend updating to 24.1 and checking this tool out. It's super useful. Get it into your projects, get this in front of your end users so that they can see what's going on. And maybe, hopefully, the intent here is to put the data in front of their face so that they can see it live and start to notice when things turn red, right? or when the dial breaks because we've got too many image files loaded in. So that's the goal. If they see things that are bad, maybe they'll be addressed without us having to come down and tell them to address it. That's the goal. That's the goal, right? And that's the point here. So the second thing I wanted to show you guys today is a new tool that we have coming. It's just around the corner, and it will be part of Hive. And this tool is called Project Standards. Now, so it's going to be, it'll come with Hive. It'll be built in with the installer, just like what the project activity logger is. And we're calling it Project Standards. So what you'll see when this next update comes out is a Standards tab. And within the Standards tab, you're going to notice a number of different pieces to this. Specifically, project information, project rules, family rules, some parameter stuff. Like there's a few things coming out here that kind of all fall into the same Hive Standards bucket. And what this specifically today with Project Standards is this will allow you to put in some preventative measures or at least some additional warnings into your Revit projects so that when a user tries to, say, explode an AutoCAD file, they'll get a message that says, hey, wait a second, you sure you want to do that? Or flat out block it. You cannot do that. We do not allow for the explosion of AutoCAD drawings in our projects. Or we could take it a step further and say, you know what? Don't even import it. So we can tell them, nope, we're not even going to import the CAD file, give them a message and explain why, and then tell them who to talk to. Okay? So, but the idea is building in those types of rules, and we can do them at different levels or for different scopes. That's kind of how we've set it up. And we can disable the use of certain commands or prevent, or at least throw messaging in there that says, hey, please don't move that linked file, right? And anytime someone tries to move a link, we can prompt a message that says, are you sure you want to do that? Or we want to disable the ability for users to edit the shared coordinates or the positions of Revit files. And the only people that should be able to do that are the BIM management team or the digital practice group or whoever has been cleared kind of to do that sort of work, right? So all of these have the ability to have an override, a passphrase put in, you know, whatever you want to call it, password, or, you know, maybe not that simple, right? But, and then only certain individuals have access to that password. And when it needs to be overridden, you simply type in that password, and then you as the BIM team manager person will have access to make that change or perform that task one time. After that, it goes back to normal or back to, you know, prevention mode, and then you'll have to do it again. So, but effectively, we have the ability to prevent / notify users of certain things or prevent them from doing certain things, depending on the project. So we can do organization level or company-wide settings. We can do project-specific settings or project type settings. Maybe all your healthcare projects have to use, you know, we work for a certain customer and we never use AutoCAD in that. Or, you know, maybe as an organization, I don't want people importing AutoCAD files. They can link them, no problem, but we don't want them importing them for whatever reason. You can prevent that from happening. Maybe your wall type system is very in-depth and very well documented and very detailed, and the usage of said wall types and the creation of new ones is a very explicit process. We don't want to prevent people from doing that, but we want to notify them, hey, remember, there's documentation to help you with that. So we can, not prevent, but show a message that says, hey, remember to reference documents, these docs, and then put the file path in. Or, maybe you have a BIM manual and it's BIM manual section 1376, right? So it doesn't have to be all prevent mode. It can be notification mode and messaging. And then depending on how it's been set up and how you've configured this to work, we have different, there will be different options for how these are managed or distributed amongst your organization, whether it's company-wide, project-specific. We can also create scopes by group of users or by just a selection of users. They don't have to be in a group. It can be kind of fluid and flexible depending on users' comfort level within Revit or familiarity with the project type or with the company standard, right? Maybe the first couple of weeks, kind of lock it down like Fort Knox for the new people just until they understand what policies and procedures need to be, and then loosen things up a bit. There's flexibility built in so that you can do that sort of thing if you choose to. So in just a matter of weeks now, there will be a standards tab appearing in your portal if you have Hive. It's just going to come with it. There won't be a need to purchase the upgrade. Ultimately, it'll just show up in the portal if you have a copy of Hive. If you then want to take advantage of it and use it, you will have to install the update, and then you will have access to those tools and these new project standards workflow. Alrighty. And as an admin, there's additional logging that happens here. So you'll get to see, who's trying to open up work sets without typing in the passwords. That would be me. So I'm getting yelled at nonstop because that's all I want to do is edit my work sets, and I've blocked myself from doing that. So there you have it. That's what I get. But yeah, so that's the idea. That's the goal here. Is just to help, kind of prevent bad things from happening in the model. So we got model dashboard in Revit to put that in front of the user's face so that they can see, the ramifications of what they're doing to their models, kind of when it happens, right? Or at the very least, after they've saved or the next day, they can at least see what some of those things did to their file. In addition to that, then in a couple of weeks, project standards will be available, and you as the BIM manager can then provide additional messaging depending on the task, the command, the object. Maybe, geez, I completely forgot to mention this. As part of the rule set, we actually also have the ability, and just go ahead and create a new rule here real quick, to set up object-based rules. And what that means is maybe I'm doing a multifamily housing project and we have very explicit door types that need to be used for that type of project. I can build a rule that says, hey, if you find my non-standard multifamily housing doors anywhere in this file, and then they should be these other doors that are multifamily specific doors. So you can say, give me, say this bifold door needs to become this bifold door. And when you open the file, it's going to scan through everything and make those swaps for you. So you can build out those type of rules, or you can do it, and you can do it for anything, right? Text. Maybe you just changed something about your textile standards, and it went from using one thing one day or 1 year, and now we've changed it to be, 3/30 seconds aerial narrow, and we used to use 1/8 inch something else times. Well, now I can build in an automatic find and replace that says anything that has, all my times fonts that I was using previously, make them all Arial narrow 3/32. And so anytime that file gets opened, it'll check to see if the old text is still there and swap it with the new text. And it'll do that with any family or dimension style, door type, window type. So, and you have the ability to custom add that in if you need to, right? Just make sure it's family name, type name, and you can freeform type in if you don't see them in your lists here because that project hasn't been run through it yet, and that's fine. Added flexibility. So be on the lookout for this. When you see that Hive update coming out the next time, that means this is here. So, and there'll be more messaging and marketing and all that good stuff. Hopefully you guys are as excited about it as we are, and go ahead and take a look at it when you get to that point. So now, last piece here. For those of you that missed some of the previous webinars or want to get some additional information on the model dashboard or get your hands on a trial copy of that for today or trial Hive, just go to our website, ctcsoftware.com, and on our products page here, you'll get access to everything. If you need a trial there, you can get a trial at this point. If you want some more information about our tools and some of the videos that we've released and kind of some of the additional workflows that have already been out there, just go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/CTC Software. Everything that we've ever done is up here. And I mean everything. We've got videos from, last Thursday all the way like 7 years ago. Like we've got videos everywhere for every single tool, bunch of different workflows, all kinds of good stuff here. So I strongly suggest checking this out to get more information about any of the tools that we offer, and even in some cases, what's coming.